Yo, what's good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. This is part 2 of What If Deku had a godly telekinesis quirk. And as always, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with my community posts. Sorry for the lack of uploads. I was trying to figure out how I want to schedule things. So ideally, I want to go Monday through Friday with videos, if that's the full stories, if that's movies, if that's part 1, if that's part 2, and so on. And then on Saturday, I'm either going to have basically no upload, or I will do like either a full movie, or I'll do a special idea, or kind of like a more edited like video, maybe like a rant or something along those lines. I haven't decided just yet what I'm going to do, but that is kind of the idea of what I want to get into in the upcoming future. But with all that said, I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into it. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo are going to face off against All Might, but it's pretty obvious that Bakugo isn't going to want to really play nice against, or play nice with Izuku, because it's pretty obvious that Bakugo himself doesn't actually want the help of Izuku Midoriya. But he doesn't really have a choice right here, right? They have a actual final exam they gotta pass. So Izuku doesn't care that he doesn't want his help. Izuku doesn't care that he's crying or being whiny or doing this or doing that. He doesn't care. He's going to make sure that they get the best of whatever they need to do, and get the best of what's happening. And the main thing for him is making sure that they pass this exam. And that's something that Izuku Midoriya is super intrigued on doing, is passing this exam. So what he does is he plays nice with Bakugo to an extent. He decides to try and utilize his telekinesis to slow down, to stop, and also weaken All Might himself. And it works quite well. Now, All Might's durability isn't really affected that much. Bakugo still has to fight his way through the insane durability of someone like All Might. And that's what he tries to do. Explosion after explosion. Izuku tries to grant opening after opening, but it's pretty obvious that there's no single explosion that will at least take out All Might long enough. So eventually Izuku just holds All Might completely still, making himself unable to move at all, and Izuku tells Bakugo to wrap the capture tape around All Might. Bakugo is hesitant, saying that no, he can beat him, all it takes is one more explosion, but Izuku tells him that he gave him the opportunity, gave him the chance, and well, he's just not ready and not strong enough to really murder All Might, because it's obvious that's what Bakugo sort of was trying to do, or at least try to show that he's strong enough to at least injure All Might. And eventually he would bite the bullet, and he would decide to wrap the capture tape around All Might, and Izuku makes it so he can no longer move at all, and All Might's, well, flat out impressed, telling them both that they did a good job and they tried their best to defeat him in a traditional way. But he also tells Izuku that if he's able to do that to some of the strongest heroes out there, there might be no answers to truly being able to stop Izuku, and there might be no answers to actually have Izuku be defeated. Which Izuku says that he did what he could, but it was obvious that All Might must have been holding back, right? And All Might looks at him and tells him that when trying to get out of his telekinesis, he was not holding back. He wasn't trying to get out necessarily, and he was not trying to just get out in general. And Izuku was pretty shocked to hear this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty damn impressive that he was able to do such a thing, but it's also pretty shocking that All Might was genuinely trying to get out. He was actually trying to get out of the situation, and actually trying to get out of the basically trying to get out of the kind of grasp that Izuku had on All Might. And this is pretty insane to think about. And Izuku, well, he thinks to himself that he has to make sure that he continues to get stronger, continues to get better, because if he doesn't, I mean, it will be truly a waste of what he's been able to show, and truly a waste of the capabilities that he's really able to show off right now. And that is the truth of it, right? Izuku is showing off some insane things, And the truth is, he can only get stronger. And that's what's happening. He's going to get more powerful and he's going to get stronger. And that is going to progress into the forest training camp. And during the forest training camp, well, they have a good time just training, getting stronger, getting better. And all of these things kind of come to a head after about a week or so of flat out training. But as they travel back, after that week of training, after Izuku's powers continue to seemingly have no limit, and Izuku's powers continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger, it seems that something else is about to occur. And it seems that something else is about to happen, and that something is the attack on All Might and the attack on a city to take down All Might, but also to get rid of All Might entirely so that the one and only All for One can continue his reign of tyranny. But before you knew it, heroes would be on the scene and the Nomus would eventually be stopped. But of course, All for One would have a last-ditch effort, a ditch effort that he personally didn't want to utilize, and a ditch effort that wasn't ready, and that being Gigantomachia. And this last-ditch effort would lead to many horrible things. I mean, All for One is literally on the brink of being defeated by All Might, but as this is happening, Gigantomachia runs rampant through the city, destroying building after building after building. And as All Might defeats All for One, he looks toward Gigantomachia, but he knows that he doesn't have basically the strength to even take down this creature, doesn't have the ability to really take this thing down. And it really terrifies All Might, because he's thinking to himself, thinking about what's happening and thinking about all the things that are occurring at this moment. And he's thinking that people will pass, people will die, and people will get hurt because he's not strong enough. And that right there scares him to his core, and that right there terrifies him, because at the end of the day, he feels that he has a responsibility, that his responsibility is to help, is to save, and to do anything in his absolute power to save people, to help people, and to do something. But he legitimately can't. He can't do a single thing. And he doesn't know what is going through his head, and he doesn't know what's truly going to happen. But as these things are happening, as heroes begin to swarm trying to take down this monstrous creature, Izuku Midoriya would eventually arrive, tricking Aizawa and getting out of basically the area, and he's far away, but he's looking to use his own powers to try to slow down and stop this monstrous creature. He puts both hands out and he begins to use as much power as he possibly can, sending his telekinesis in that direction. And before you know it, a aura of this purple and this kind of glistening color would surround Gigantomachia. He would slow down and almost go into a freeze, and the other heroes would try to look for openings to take the creature down, and look for openings to at least get him toward the ground and stop him entirely. Izuku would hold him for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes would turn into 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 10, 10 to 20, and as longer he would hold, and the longer he would hold him with his powers, the more he would feel the repercussions. Izuku's powers slowly but surely basically turning on him. His powers begin to turn on him, begin to make him feel heavier, begin to make all of his body parts ache, making every single muscle tear to shreds. Izuku feels these things in its entirety, and all he can think about is he needs to hold this thing still. And eventually they find a way to take him down with the help of Midnight and many other quick thinking support heroes. They're able to knock out Gigantomachia, and after 40 minutes of holding him still, Izuku Midoriya would collapse and his body would be shaking to its core, as if it's just vibrating from the pain that is circulating through his entire body. And eventually he would pass out and he would wake up in a hospital room with Aizawa standing there and All Might there as well, asking him why he did what he did. And Izuku tells him that he did what he had to do to help save everyone around, because that thing was not going to go down without a fight. In which Aizawa nods his head, and he understands. I mean, they needed him to do what he did, but at the end of the day, it sucks. It sucks that in the mind of everyone that they're listening, they're feeling, and they're hearing, that it took a kid, that it had to be a kid utilizing so much of his power that he borderline broke for them to truly find a way out of this and find a way to actually stop what was occurring. And that right there hurts more than anything. That right there hurts so badly, because they think that, frankly, they weren't prepared enough. They weren't ready enough. And now there's a kid in the hospital, a student in the hospital, someone with so much potential, but now he's down for the count, at least for now. And before you know it, well, Izuku is realizing what happened with his overuse of his quirk, and that his telekinesis is going haywire every single day. They have to get a place for him and actually have to cuff him so that his quirk no longer continues with this insane kind of everywhere type of power. I mean, it literally is going everywhere. It's throwing things around the room all willy-nilly, and he doesn't know how to stop it. He doesn't know what to do, but he continues to do it over and over and over again. But all he can think about is somehow he has to get back to his normal shape, but it's not going to be right now. He sits there days on end wondering if he can really get back to what he was. Can he really get back to what he wanted to be? And can he really do the things that he's been wanting to do? He wants to be a hero. He wants to do so much more than what he's basically doing at this moment. But right now, he's basically stuck to the bed. He's basically stuck to where he can't do a single thing. And Izuku Midoriya, he just has to basically think about the bright side, that nobody got hurt and nobody in general is like, dead. Now, with that said, after days on end, after weeks on end, Izuku would eventually get basically a go-ahead to take off the cuffs. The idea is to slowly but surely allow Izuku to utilize his quirk, and slowly but surely allow him to basically regain the powers that he normally has, right? To regain the powers that he always can use, or normally is able to use. Now, with all that said, it's not an end-all be-all, at least in terms of his powers. It seems like his powers still have a little bit of ways to go. He's insanely powerful, but if he uses too much of it, it will go haywire once again. And Izuku continues to try to work with this, and he's kind of set aside by everyone. Not necessarily in a bad way, but he's set aside in a way of like, he has to kind of be away from everybody to try to channel and figure out and really learn what's happening with his powers. And that's exactly what he's doing, right? He's away from everybody. He doesn't want to hurt anyone, and he wants to make sure that his powers are completely and utterly ready for whatever's to come. He wants to make sure that they are prepared, and that's what they're doing. Him, Aizawa, and many others continue his training, continue his kind of rehabilitation of what his powers are doing, because his powers were going massively haywire. So he's making sure that they're fully prepared for whatever is to come next. And he continues to do this over a large course of time. But the issue is he misses out on a provisional hero license exam. He misses out on potential times he can go work with other heroes. So it definitely sets him back quite a bit. But before you know it, he would actually be in a good standing, and his powers would be somewhat back to normal. At least to an extent, would be back to normal. And Izuku, well, he would get an opportunity to prove what he can do and prove in front of everybody around. And that is one day of just him showing off his powers, his ability to save, his ability to fight, and he does this for a whole day. And as he does this in front of many different heroes and many different people and many different agencies, he shows everyone that he is fully capable, and he's fully capable of being one of the highest level heroes out there in existence. But before you know it, he was already on the right track to actually being what he wanted to be and being the hero he needed to be, or at least the hero student he needed to be. And Izuku would already be getting offers from various places and various agencies. But the main one that he's been looking at, the main agency that he's been looking at, is the one with Sir Night-Eye. And it seems like Sir Night-Eye's agency is actually prepared to give Izuku a chance, to help them, because he has heard about how well he works and how good he is at doing certain things, and the possibilities he will have in this regard is of high contention, right? And Izuku's abilities are truly going to be shown off, and Izuku's capabilities are going to be at a level that, well, Sir Night-Eye believes is high enough to kind of instate him in what he's been doing, and high enough to instate him in kind of like a area that he believes will be helpful to them. Because at the end of the day, he believes that Izuku will be massively helpful to their eventual downtaking or their takeover of Overhaul, and that would be so or more true than you could possibly even imagine, because eventually Izuku would have a chance to go one-on-one with Overhaul, and Izuku's ability to capture is what makes things so much greater than you could possibly imagine. A chance around Overhaul is something nobody expected, but on one singular day, a patrol would occur, and Izuku would stand face to face with Mirio beside him against Overhaul. And Overhaul would have a little girl who is innocent, who is trying to get away, and who is trying to basically be saved. And Izuku doesn't even think twice about it. He immediately would stop Overhaul in his tracks, making it so he's unable to even move a singular inch. And there it goes. Immediately unable to move and immediately unable to do a single thing. And he would be stuck there, stuck in his place and stuck entirely. And Overhaul would be captured before you know it. And Izuku would show off once again why his powers are so incredible and at a completely different level. And when the invasion of the Shihazaikai base would eventually ensue, he would talk to Sir Night-Eye, and they would talk about what needs to be done and what needs to occur. And the main thing that they talk about is slowing down and stopping all the villains inside the Shihazaikai base. And if you do this, and if that happens, well, then it seems like everything will go perfectly fine. And it seems like everybody in the base would be too weakened and too slowed to actually do a single thing. And that ends up being the actual truth. The truth is Izuku is able to slow down and also weaken so many of the other heroes, or the other villains, to the point where they literally can't do a single thing, and they literally can't help out other villains, and they can't stop the heroes from capturing them and slowing them down entirely and stopping them from doing any more with the Shihazaikai type of gang. And this right here would be the final end of the Shihazaikai, and it seems like they crumbled quicker than you could imagine. And it seems as if Izuku was a big component of doing just that. And it shocks many people. It shocks almost everyone, the capabilities that Izuku has showed. But the reality is Izuku has shown basically the ability to be a really, really good hero. And on top of that, a really good hero that could genuinely help so many lives by just doing what he normally does. And that's literally what he's doing right now, is, just doing his thing in terms of protecting and doing his thing in terms of slowing down and capturing heroes, or capturing villains, that need to be captured ASAP. And that's exactly what Izuku Midoriya is able to show off, and show every single person there that he's flat out on a different level. But he continues to train throughout this time, continues to make sure that he is kind of at this level he needs to be, so that what happened last time never happens again, right? He wants to make sure that what happened last time never happens, well, once again, and nobody actually gets hurt. Because the thing that scares him most is that one day his powers will fail, that his powers may be at a level that everybody is shocked at, but it seems like the body that he has right now, the strength and everything that he has that comes with the power, seems to be slowly failing him. But he wants to make sure that it doesn't fail. He wants to make sure that everything goes the way it should, and he wants to make sure that nobody at the end of the day gets hurt. And that's one thing he wants to guarantee, and that's one thing he wants to make sure nothing bad happens in the near future, and he wants to make sure that nothing ever bad happens when he's around, when he is basically this hero for everybody to stand next to. He wants to make sure that not a single person is killed and not a single person is hurt when Izuku Midoriya is on the stage. But he has time to really get better. He has time to train. He has training regimens with class 1B that makes him even more powerful, and he has other chances that continue on and on and on. And eventually, as the years would go by, Izuku Midoriya would gain power that nobody would imagine, and his body continues to conform to the power that he continues to be granted. And eventually he would get his chance to really be a part of the big time, and eventually he would get his chance to actually be the hero he knows he can be. He gets his chance to be the hero that he knew he could be in the very first place, and he knew that he had the potential to really take to the next level when, well, he would get his final chance to really be what he wanted to be. And that's exactly what he ends up doing. He ends up being the hero he sought out to be for so long, and he ends up being the hero that he was destined to be the very day he got his powers, and the very day that he got the strength that was gifted to him at literal birth. When he eventually got the powers that were gifted to him, the powers that were his mother's but far stronger, he was really interested to see if he could really take to the next level, and that's what he does. And as he becomes the pro hero he wants to be, and as he enters to be a pro hero that he sought after for so long, his journey to be the #1 may not be over, but his journey to truly be the hero he wants to be is just beginning. But that is where we will end the story of What If Deku Had a Godly Telekinesis Quirk. And if you enjoyed, please show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.